Hi everyone, how are we today? Welcome. It's another Monday and we are here live. My name is Anita Mazzero and I'm a Stampin' Up demonstrator in Horsham, Victoria, Australia. Not to be confused with Horsham in England. If you see the red live button, you're watching me live on Facebook. If not, you're watching the replay either on Facebook or on YouTube. So I hope you've had a great weekend. I had a very busy weekend with Creative Carnival and we had a ball. Very tiring, but Pam Jorgensen and Alyssa Tilsner did an amazing job and we made this, just grab it, absolutely beautiful scrapbook with lots of pages, which I'll show you when we pop down. And I've still got more pages to add. And we did this from scratch, chipboard, everything, all from scratch. It was absolutely fun, but it was certainly different. So I hope everyone's had a good weekend and it's turning out really well for you. And we just better make sure that I am live, so I'm not talking away to myself. You know how it is. Easy enough done. Sometimes. Hello, Sharon. How are you? Time gets away, doesn't it? You're going on the cruise, aren't you, Sharon? Because that's not far away for those that are doing the Sea Crafters cruise to the South Pacific. That's happening beginning of October, so early October, so it's not far away. I'll start thinking about what I'm going to wear, so it's going to be fun and games for that, but I'll get there. It might be last minute, but I'll get there. Too much happening in the meantime before we get to that date. So what I will do is I'm going to pop you down and I'm going to let you have a look at the album that we made, the scrapbook album we made over the weekend as part of Creative Carnival. And this was the first time Pam and Alyssa opened it up for customers as well as demonstrators. It is normally a demonstrator-only event, and when it's only a demonstrator-only, customers can't see it. So this time they opened it up and did something different, and it was a lot of fun. Hey, Chrissy, how are you? Have you recovered all right from the weekend? I'm just talking about what a great weekend we had with our Creative Carnival, and I'm about to show what I've got of the scrapbook album that we made. I still haven't added the extra pages in yet. Saw that yesterday afternoon and I was too tired to think about it, but it was just a lot of fun, and yeah, it's great. And but it was something different, and I don't mind it when it's something different. So anyway, I'm going to pop you down. You can have a look at what we made, and then I will show you our card for today. So just bear with me as I turn the camera down. You don't want to see my ceiling, that's for sure. And I will just zoom in to get this right. Okay, have a look at that. I think that's got it. Maybe come back out a little bit. This is the problem I have with this. Hello, Glenda. Well, how are you? That's a bit better. Got it. It always takes so much time just to get it to zoom in and out, because when I want it to go out, it doesn't want to do it. So this was the album we made, and we made it completely from scratch. And, so we spent some time in advance doing all the cutting of the chipboard, the paper, etc. So this was using the Weekend Adventures. So that was the stamp set and the scrapbooking kit that we used. So there we go. So this was the album. was a lot of fun to do. As I said, it was a lot of work. I've still got some pages to add in here. And then this is got little magnets on it. It's popped over, and where my magnet is, I've got a dirty mark, and I don't know why. We'll find something to cover that. It flips over. And then it opens out, like so. Now I've just got to find the photos to put in it. Opens up, and that's a little pop-up. And then we do the same on this side with another pop-up. So I'll put some photos or whatever on there. And then we go this way. Opens up that way. And we go this way. And we've got this little gatefold. It also opens this way. Lots of photo opportunities that can go inside this album. And then we got that. We've got this, which then turns out like that. And then we've got this, which opens like so, and there's our back cover. So I still have some pages to enter into it, but as you can see, it's quite a big album, like quite wide, and it's a 6x6. And, you know, I can keep adding inside. There's enough room in the gaps that I can keep adding if I want to add more pages. And as I said, I've got a few more that they've given us to do, which I haven't put in yet. But that's it. So it's ready for me to decorate and work out what I'm going to put in there. So I have no idea at this stage. I always like to see some things when I'm doing it with somebody to see what it ends up like. But I really was happy with that. And it was a lot of fun and a very tiring day. And I know my customer that was with me enjoyed it as well. So the card I've got today is using this beautiful painterly Pears. It's a bit of a mouthful. Painterly Pears. Yes, Sharon, it was awesome. It was a really great one to do. We had lots of fun, lots of bloopers, and yeah. So once I have some photos to go into it, I think that, you know, once I got photos and memorabilia and so forth, this will make a fabulous. Could be a fabulous gift for somebody, or, you know, whether I make a second one, because there's some gifts that I could give to people, but just change the papers to make it either a very feminine one for a female. This one's very much a male orientated one. I've got a grandson that loves camping. Him and his family go camping a lot. And, you know, it's something I could find that they could have pictures of themselves, the two little boys, or, you know, out there camping. So haven't worked out what I'm going to do with it. So that's what it is. So anyway, talk about our designer series paper. Now, I just bought the paper when I saw this, because as a demonstrator, we can order stuff a month before it's released, so we get to see and have a play. So when I saw this paper, I just loved. It was so different to anything I've ever seen before. So the colours, if I look at the back of the pack, the colours in the paper that they have on the back of so whenever you've got it, have a look at the back of your paper to see what it says. So we've got basic beige, darling duckling, mossy meadow, old olive, petal pink, and secret sea. So all those colours are in there. You can see the secret sea, you can see the petal pink, you can see the mossy meadow, old olive, and the darling duckling. Absolutely beautiful. So you've got this very busy floral side. But then when I flip it over, this is old olive and secret sea. So it's a great alternative if you don't like the busyness. As I said, I was surprised how much I did like this paper. it's something I was amazed with. Now this page, if you have the bundle, your dies will cut out the leaves, the pair of pears and the single pear. And it is wonderful that you can do something like that. Now see here, you've got two bits. Now I'm going to show you. So that's basically this one here, and that's this one up here. But did you know, if you've got paper, you can actually put it back together. So I can just slide it across and just manipulate it. There it is. Look at that. So I can get a bit of Tombow glue. Hello, Rochelle. How are you? So I'm just going to pop a little bit of glue on there. And this is how we can maximise our papers. You're playing with this sweet as well. I know it's too nice. I put an order in and guess what I forgot to order? The stamp set. I really wanted that. But that's okay. It just means I put another order. So there we go. So just remember that was that piece there and that was that piece there. And I have now made the full pair. So don't ever think that these bits and pieces up the top are going to be disregarded. Even these little corner, bits like this, you can use inside your card. You can use it all that way. So don't ever think that you can miss out of it. Yeah, Rochelle, the DSP is absolutely marvellous. Good afternoon, Michelle. How are you? So, yeah, great little tip to add, make your papers go a little bit further. So that was that one. And on the reverse is the Old Olive and Mossy Meadow. Nice leafy print. Again, a softer, more subtle one. Then we have the Secret Sea background with the beautiful colours. The Darling Duckling is really bright and pops through, and you can see the peaks in there. To me, there's some touches of orange and reds just to give it a bit more depth and colour. And then again, you go back to this side. It's just very simple. This is Darling Ducklings and Petal Pink put together. Then you've got this one. Whoops, up the right way. This one, which is your Darling Ducklings. It's got beautiful bunches of pears in there. And again, easy for fussy cutting if you need to cut it out. Absolutely easy. And then on the back, again, a much more subtle, just was sort of like a sprig effect. Again, something you can do fussy cutting. I do like fussy cutting, if you wondered why. And then we've got this piece, which is the piece I'm using today. I've got this absolutely beautiful piece with the Mossy Meadow, basic beige in the background, just a hint of Darling Duckling. Absolutely beautiful. And then Mossy Meadow on that side. Hello, Cherry, how are you? And then this is all I've got left of a piece which is 12 by 12, has the pattern all going around. And I have made some beautiful cards using this. And so I've got one piece left. And that's got the Berry Burst and Petal Pink on the back. So that'll be made into a card because, let's face it, you'll see what I've done with some of the other bits that I had left over a bit later. So a couple of you will have seen this card done, as we did this as a mystery stamping. And it was a fold I had forgotten about. And it's a very simple fold, but very dramatic in the sense of that. So I've got my normal A4 card, so cut in half. So it's 21 centimetres 14.9 scored at 10.5. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold this because I want that fold to be very obvious. Oops. Throw things around. Let me give that a good burnish so it's in my card. Now that I've got it, I'm going to open it up and I'm going to pop it at the 3.5 mark. And this is the beauty of our trimmer. I can take my blade, it's got a mark in here. I'm not sure if you can see it. There's a line in here. I'll just take it out for a sec so that you can see it a bit closer. There's this line just in here. And that tells me that that's where the point is, where the blade is. So that's why this particular trimmer from Stampin' Up is such a good one for that reason. So we're going to have that at 3.5, and I'm going to have that where my fold is. And this is why I wanted to fold it and burnish it, so I can see that quite clearly and know that, yep, that's at 10.5. And I cut that one. So I've got that. So then I'm going to rotate it, and I'm going to go at 3.5, but I'm going to take my blade down to the bottom because I only want to go up on this particular side, which is my front, just up to the fold. And there is our flap for the card. Now, I'll show you a little bit later. If you don't want to cut these off, there's another way you can do very similar. But I'm going to cut them off today. So I'm going to take that, mark that at the 10.5, and that's because I know that's what it's going to be. So I'm going to take this, bring it up to the first cut line, take that away, lift it up, and come back to this cut line and remove it. So this is my card base. You can use these for sentiments or whatever. So that's the card base. Sorry, I must have had my trimmer up a bit high. So there is our card. So I've cut all my pieces and just shoved everything over on my book where I wrote down information that I could tell you. Get out of the way. I'm just knocking things all over on the floor. So I wanted to do layers. I like layers on my cards. So I've got a piece of white, which is 10.2 by 14.5. That's going to be my insert. Then I've got 2 strips of peach pie, because that matches this paper beautifully. And these strips are 10.5 by 3.5. I'll take those 2 pieces and I'm going to put them at each end. I'm just going to pop a bit of glue, put this in place. And when you're popping this on, this is going right to the very end. Giving that a really good right at the end, because we don't want the white showing. And then I'm going to pop some more glue. Let's bring it a bit closer. And I'm going to pop that right up in there. Pop that in place. And sit that there. So I've got those 2 pieces. So I've then cut 2 pieces of this stunning paper. And how different does that look? I just reach over and grab that. So there's the piece that I'm using. And then when I take the strips, it gives it a bit of a change. So these two pieces I have cut at 9.9 by 3.2. And I'm just going to pop them either side onto our base. I'm going to pop that in. And this will leave, I'm leaving a little bit of the peach pie around the border. So just leaving a very small border around. I'm going to pop that just like so. And I felt the peach pie gives it a bit of pop. So then I'm going to put this on the inside of my card. Run out of my glue. Okay, pop that in. Pop that in. Because I've got the border of the green, it's highlighting the green. So then when I fold this is how you're going to see it. So it's going to give it a very different look. So then in here, I have got a piece of peach pie, and this is for is 10.2 by 7.7. So that's going to sit in there. And then I've got a piece of the cardstock, the DSP. Now, if you wanted to, you could use that, because that will be the exact match for what we've had here. But I'm going to put just the green. I want that mossy meadow look to come through. So I'm going to pop those pieces together. Just going to get them in. And girls, yell out if I'm off camera. I try to keep it in, but you know, sometimes I get sidetracked and off I go. Before I know where I am, I'm in somewhere else. So then I'm just going to glue this to the inside flap. Just add a little bit of layer inside the card. Now, if you want to, you can have white in there. If you want to do a lot more writing, or if you want to do more stamping. But I'm going to leave it like that. So this, you like the colours, Rochelle. You're the colour queen. So then I'm going to have some peach pie on here, and I've got a piece of the old olive. But I want to emboss this piece, and I'm going to use, I should have prepared this beforehand, but I didn't, so I apologise about that. So I'm going to use the mini corrugated folder. Beautiful folder. So the first thing I need to decide, do I want the corrugation to go up and down, or do I want it to go across? And I think I might go up and down this time. One of the cards I've got as a sample, which is the card I did on the mystery stamping, I had it the opposite way. So, you know, let's just change it. I'll bring in my cut and emboss machine. Take it off there. Now, this is a 3D embossing folder, so I'm going to use plate 1. Hello, Cheryl. How are you today? Yeah, that's what I thought, Rochelle. The peach pie just blended in so well, because to me there was some in the pears. Like these pears seem to have like that bit of colouring, and that's why I chose the peach pie. So we're going to put this in, spray plate on. Just ignore my little stickers on there. So I'll put this away. And there's my little corrugated piece that I'm going to glue onto this. And because it was corrugated, it's made it a little bit wider. I actually should have cut that a little bit. Yes, Cheryl, I agree. Those pears, you know, I think that they're a hidden gem on the online store. So we're going to have a little bit more orange, a bit more peach pie showing on this one. So I'm just going to make sure I've got plenty of glue because of the corrugating, because we want that to adhere well to our page. So I'm popping the glue on, making sure it's well and truly on. And then I'll pop that on there. Now this card is a very simple card. You can make this at home and you can grab any of your different DSPs, and I've got three other samples and another pear one to show you what can be done with this particular paper. So I'm going to pop that on the back, on the front of the flap. So this is basically the card. The next step is the decoration. I'll just pop that on. And you know, even though this ended up being a bit wider than I thought, I actually don't mind it because it helps that peach pie to just pop on the card. So then I've got in my little bag, as I said, I don't have the dies, I just bought the papers, and I'm going to I just fussy cut all these pieces. And I'm going to use this particular one that I stuck together before. So I've got some leaves, so I want two of these big pears. So I'm going to use one that isn't as dark as the other. So when you cut them out, you'll find one is darker and one is lighter. So I'm going to use the lighter one on top, and I'll need to find another one of those little leaves. So I'm just going to put a dot of glue. I only want tiniest amount of glue to hold the leaves in place. So I'm just going to pop that on. And the thing is, you can have them at different heights. They do not have to be right at the tip. Like that one I've brought right down, and this one I'm going to have a little bit up. So they're going to sit on there like so. Them sitting like that. Bring those pears out. And what else will I? Got all my little cuts. So I've got some little pink flowers, which was in the background of the paper. So I reckon I might sit that there. Pop that like that. And I always would suggest, before you go ahead and put these sort of things down, don't start gluing. Always have a look and see what you would like. Now I'm thinking whether or not I put another one there. I think that might do it. I'm just going to sit that one like that. And I think that will do it. And I've got a piece of this beautiful, beautiful ribbon. Have a look at this. It's mossy meadow and gold. So one side it's more the mossy meadow. So I don't know if you can see that. I'll bring it up a little bit so you can see it's mossy meadow. But then if you flip it, it's more gold. And it is absolutely stunning. So before I glue any of this down, I know what I'm going to do with those. I'm going to take a piece of this ribbon, not a reasonable amount, because I want to flip it across. So just look at where I want it. This way I get the best of both worlds in the ribbon. I'll just give that a cut. And lay that in place. Pop that like so. There for a minute. Oh, good on me. I'm going to grab some tape. Got it. And I'm just going to take a little strip and put this. I've taken 3 of putting this in place. 1, 2, 3. And I've chosen mainly to keep the gold side up because I like the gold. How pretty is that? That's there. So I'm going to take my dark pear and I'm going to put some dimensionals on the back. Make it nice and strong. And I'll put a couple of little minis where the leaves are. Just in there. And I'm going to use a tiny strip from the edge, because remember, we can always use every bit of our dimensionals, which makes them very economical. And, you know, who wants to waste anything? I'm going to pop that on this little stem, making sure I'm bending it to fit. So that piece is going to go down. I'll take the backs off. And be careful you don't rip the stem and that off your pears, because ask me how I know. I'm going to, before I do anything, I'm going to lift this up because it is 2-sided tape. So bring it up. And I'm going to pop that. Just remember which way I want to do that. Yeah, I'll pop that one there. So it's sitting in place. I'm going to get this one and it's going to pop up there. But I need dimensionals in here and along here, because along there I'm going to put a bit of glue on this particular side. So I'll get my dimensionals. I'm just going to put, make sure I've got the right side. Yep. Oh, excuse me. So do exactly the same as I did with the other, except I'm only going to put on the actual pear the dimensionals just. Oops, I don't want that. I want another little strip. Let's take that. So which is your favourite new product that came out on the online store in the online exclusives? This is definitely my favourite. So always check what's happening over there, because we don't have a catalogue for it. And there may be something that I miss, because believe me, I have missed products before. I'm just going to put a bit of glue. Come on, glue, please last through to the end of this live. I'm going to pop that. I'll just set that a little bit higher than the darker one. Just like so. There's the leaves. Look at that. How pretty are they? How simple is it to have a pretty look with just a few pieces of the DSP? So I'm going to take these flowers, and I'm just going to, one end is in here, it's reasonably straight. So I'm going to try and make that one sort of sit underneath and bring it back in around like so. So I'm just going to use a bit of glue. No, actually, I might put some little mini dimensionals. Change my mind. It's a woman's prerogative, isn't it, to change her mind? Let's put a couple of dimensionals on there. The vintage Christmas set. Oh, I'm going to go and have to have a look at Rochelle. I missed that one. So we're just going to pop that slightly underneath, get it in place. There we go. I've just got that sitting there. Now you'll notice I've got little yellow flowers here. So I just want to scatter there. Oh, I've got to better not forget my little pears. Rustic centrepiece. Wow. Yeah, I missed that one. I will definitely pop and have a look. Has anyone else seen that one? I'm just going to sit this one down here. Again, I'm only going to put dimensionals here and the rest will be glue. Well, how did I miss that one? I know that the peaceful set that we use for Creativity Now is one that I like. You've already got in your cart, Cheryl. There we go. Just got that sitting there. And I just want to add a few flowers just scattered of the small little flowers. So I'm just going to take a bit of glue, work out where I want them to sit, and put one in there. So they were probably, it's only a stamp set. Well, that could be why I missed it. These were quite fiddly to cut out, but I think why waste the paper? And even though they're not to my standard of what I would like when I'm cutting them out, they'll still look good. So I'm just going to pop them like so. So then I'm going to get these beautiful gems. They're called Low Profile Sparkle Dots. I've got this Secret Sea, Old Olive, and Darling Duckling. So I'm going to use the small ones in the Darling Duckling, and I'm going to add them to the middle of these pink cluster, just to give them a little bit of pizzazz. And then I'm going to use the Old Olive, small ones. Now, I know these flowers were only little, but just to add a bit more of an element, I've popped them in there. So there's that. Now I've got a strip of black here, and I've got, from our Simply Said stamp set, I've just got the word Happy Birthday. And what I want to do is I'm going to emboss this in white and cut it and break the words up. So I'm going to use my embossing buddy. This poor old one has been around with me ever since I started embossing. So she's extremely flat. It's dirty because it's one that I use if I've got glue somewhere and I just pat it on top so the glue won't stick. Oh, if it's like the Sentimental Christmas, I did like that one last year. So I don't know how I missed it. Oh, dear. Because it is time to start on Christmas cards, isn't it? I'm just going to stamp this down. And I never throw away any scraps of paper that are big enough to use for sentiments or anything like that, because otherwise you've only got to cut a piece. And, you know, why do we need to waste it? Okay, let's see. I was doing some stamping yesterday, or some embossing, and I could not work out for the life of me why it was not working. Turned out there was a tiny, probably about an eyelash of hair sticking to my stamp, and it wouldn't stamp properly. So I was getting frustrated. Have you ever had that happen, where there's just that little bit of a stamp? Right, I'm going to get my heat gun. I've closed up my embossing paper, and I'm just going to go over this. Now, I'm not worried this isn't 100% straight because I'm cutting it. Just give it time to heat up. And the magic of embossing is watching it go brilliantly white. And just give it a run underneath to make sure it hasn't missed anything. And there you go, Bob's your uncle. So I'm just going to cut that, just like so. And I want to cut this close to the wording as I can, just really close. Repeat the same on this side, because I want my pears to be the feature. Yes, I'm putting a sentiment across it, but I don't think sometimes the sentiment needs to be in your face, if you know what I mean, so that it's there, but it's your card is all that work you've put into your card, and so they can see it. So I'm just going to cut between the happy and the birthday. And I'm going to put it like so. Make it a little bit closer up. I'm going to pop those on dimensionals. So I'll grab my minis again. For a long time, I didn't use minis very much. But lately, I don't know about anybody else, when I'm doing small things like this, it's the best. So remember, we can get our dimensionals in black, which I keep forgetting to order. Even though I ordered a heap the other day, I did not put black on it. I put everything else but the black. So it comes, the black dimensionals will come in the two sizes. You'll get the large and the minis in the one pack, and the white comes in the dimension. In one pack will be minis, one pack will be the large. And I go through so many dimensionals. You've got to make sure plenty of dimensionals are on your pieces. I'll take that off. I'm going to pop that like so. And then pop that down there. Look at that. And here I go, girls. You didn't, yeah, I don't know whether it's just because we've got different greetings on stamp sets that we're using more the small ones, Rochelle. I really don't know. So pop a little bit of wink, and those who know me know I like my wink, so I give it a good little bashing. So there is the front of our card. So you can see that on there. If I was as good as you at flicking, Rochelle, I would do some flicking with some pens, but I get it everywhere but on the card. So I've got to watch and learn the trick to that. So there's that. There's this. So I'm going to fill this in now. So I thought I have got one that's got one of the pears cut off. So why not? I'm going to pop it down in here. And because I'm not sure what I'm going to do there, I am not going to put any of the pears in that spot. Yes, but I get laughed at a lot about that, my use of stuff. So anyway, that's all right. I'm glad to give everybody a laugh. So pop that just in there. And of course, got to put a bit more wink, a little bit, just a tad more in here, just to make it interesting. And there's the card. Now I've got my envelope. So what are we going to do with the envelope? I don't have the stamp sets, remember? You're no good with wink. Beauty. You're good with the splatters. I'm good with the wink. I think we'll be fine. We complement each other. So on here, I'm going to have a look at what I've got. So I've got, got to decorate our envelope. So I reckon I might just put a little bunch of flowers. And let's face it, we go to a lot of trouble of getting our cards ready, the inside and everything else ready, but then forget the envelope. Now you can either use the paper or anything else. You can use that and go for it. But just pop it on, stick it in there, and there's my card, my envelope, and this great little flip-flap card. And I did promise you, I'll leave that over there, this is where the idea was inspired by when we had a challenge on the Stamping Lounge, and we did this. I've got a little thank you card, and this is what I ended up doing on that one. So that was something, that was where the inspiration came from. So then I decided, let's do one using the Cheers and Sips. So I've got the paper there. I'm probably out of screen with both of those. I'll just show you that one again on the inside. And then got that out of the way, and that's the Cheers and Sips. Again, I don't have stamp sets for this, or dies. And this one's using the Nature's Notes. Yes, I've got the stamp set, but I've got no dies, and I've just used some dies of leaves that I had already floating around. So it's that again. Right. So then, as I said, this is one, I've just fussy cut all the flowers, taken a bit of Pretty in Pink ribbon, and I've just cut it into 3, because I didn't want the ribbon to be really big, and then just got that in there. I've just cut them all out. So that's that one. That one there, I left a little bit of white showing around the edge. That was because I made a blooper in the cutting. Thank you, Glenda. You like the shears and sip? Yeah, I'm having great fun playing with the paper. And this was the other card I made using the paper. Very different to the one I've made today. I've used the exposed brick in the background here. I've used the, what is this one called? It's part of the Cheers and Sips because I bought the Glass and Gardens embossing folder. It's got this beautiful glass effect. And so this one I've used here, and I've popped that in there. And this is where I've used a piece of that paper that I was showing you before, which somewhere on my desk, which was the white with the border. So I've just popped a piece in there. You still can write in there if you want to. And then I've just popped some pears. Again, that's from an edge piece, and I've popped that there. You know, if you want more writing, you can put some more on the back. And then I made this one using the Wildflower Birthday, I think this is the paper called. And the die I've used for that one, the embossing folder I've used for that one, is one that this beautiful pressed flowers embossing folder. And I've just, on that one, I just grabbed one of my brushes that had some blue on it and just ran it across to bring those flowers up. I've just used some ephemera and then stamped the word happy birthday. And what I've done this time is I've left this together and got a piece across there. So when it's open, it's pretty much page. And I've just put some in there and a flower. So there are lots of ways you can do this particular card. And as I said, I hadn't done one for a long time, so it was really nice to be reminded of what you can do with it and how you can change them up just by the paper you're using. So this is exactly the same card, same cut, apart from what I did with that one. It's exactly the same. But they look so, so different. So it's your imagination. So I hope you liked what I've done today. And if you do it, please pop it up on my page. I'd love to see what you do because it's a fun card. And I'm really grateful just to be reminded of when they were showing us this in a mystery stamping. It reminded me of what the card was like, and it ignited. I could immediately see so many different ways that I could do this particular card. And as you can see, they are all very, very different. So that's it for me today. So stay warm because it's not warm here. So stay warm, and we will see you next Monday, everything being well. And I will catch some of you when you do your lives. So bye for now, everyone. Have a great week.